All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back indeed. We are home from Mexico, back to the norm of things. Although we do have a few other trips coming up, but nonetheless, guys, we got ourselves a Sunday with 4 NBA playoff games to jump into in today's video, like we always do when we go through each and every one of these games. I'm gonna give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, keep an eye on the pinned comment. That is where all of my final plays will live. I'll update that throughout the day. And if you do want to ride with me, or if you do want to fade me, all those plays will be listed in the pinned comment. Yeah, we're back in action. We didn't do a video yesterday because we're traveling back from Mexico, so no recap from yesterday, but it is good to be home. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this first game. We got the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the New York Knicks. Right now, Sixers at home, 5-point favorites, total sitting at 209. Series right now 2-1 in favor of New York. The home team is taking it each time here. And I want to start with the total because I think that that's probably the spot I look to immediately. But before we do that, I guess it's worth noting that Joel Embiid's listed as a game time decision, as is Mitchell Robinson. So 2 injuries on both sides that would matter. Obviously, the Embiid injury would be a massive one here. But nonetheless, I just want to throw that out there. But kind of regardless of those injuries, I don't hate taking a peek at the over here. I think a lot of people are going to think, okay, well, the Knicks need to lock up after last game. That's how they lost, yada, yada, yada. I view it as the home team says the way we won was upping the tempo. I think they had like a 40-something point third quarter there, and they didn't really look back from that. So I do think that this is going to be a spot in which the Sixers say, hey, what worked last time? Let's push the pace. Now, I'm not saying they win this game necessarily. They are 5-point favorites, but I'm saying that that's going to be their sort of initial reaction. They do have guys like Maxey that can push the pace, and we've seen the Knicks, even in that last game, right, say, okay, like you want to push the pace, we'll try and keep up with you and score. And the Knicks ended up scoring 114. So I like this spot here for the over. Again, if this was, some of the other totals, like 216.5, like one of the games we'll get to, maybe it wouldn't really jump off the page to me. But I think at 209, we can look at both these teams going for 105 and then may the best team win, right? So give me the over. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that does ultimately become a final play. And also, before we get to the rest of those, make sure you're using those hashtag ride of the days in the comments. We'll get back to the ride of the day now as well. Took a couple days off while on vacation because getting the screenshots and all that's a little difficult. But all right, in terms of a spread pick here, I think there's a strong chance the Sixers not up this series. These two teams are a little closer than I think some may think when it comes to how they play, right? Points per game, the Knicks on the season were 16th, Philadelphia 13th. In terms of home and away, they're pretty good. Like the Knicks, actually 11th best team on the road scoring this year. Defense fairly similar. So I do think the Sixers have a chance to obviously not up this series at 2-2. But 5.5 points seems like it may, or 5 points, seems like it's a little bit too much to throw the Knicks' way here. So I'm going to lean towards the Knicks in this spot just because, again, 5 points, like this should be, in my brain, a like 215 to 215, a 115 to like 111 game. In a sense, and that's within 4 points. So give me the +5 in this spot. Obviously, Brunson went off last game. We had his under. I think that he has a decent game again now that he probably knows how he can probably score against them, which kind of leads us into a player prop in this spot. And I am going to be looking at Jalen Brunson, but I'm still going to kind of fade his points. But I'm not taking his points because we took his under, 28.5 points for plus money, albeit in game number 3, and he went off for 39 points. So yeah, I learned my lesson there, right? But I don't mind his over 11.5 rebounds plus assists here. In terms of what he's done, this is dating back to last season, but against the Knicks, he's hit this in 9 of 11 games, and you're getting decent odds. -118 right now on FanDuel, -118 on DraftKings, Caesars -127, BetMGM -135, so DraftKings and FanDuel is probably the place to take it, but I like this spot because of what we've seen from Brunson, again, in this series, but also just overall dating back to last year. He's averaging 14 potential assists and 8 rebound chances there. So if you guys know my 50% rule, I take those potential assists, cut it in half. Okay, he should be good for a floor of 7. You take those rebounds, he should be good for a floor of 4 rebounds. Now we're looking at 11 rebounds plus assists. That's like the starting point in my brain, and his line is 11.5. So I think this is going to be a good chance here. playing obviously a boatload of minutes, and he's not going to stop. The dude works his ass off, and he's involved in every play. So I don't love the fact that his points total is up to 31.5. I almost wanted to take the under on that, so I guess I could throw that in as a lean, but man, did I learn my lesson taking a Brunson in a bounce back spot under last game. So Jalen Brunson over 11.5 rebounds plus assists is going to be the player prop that I like in this spot. Keep an eye on the pinned comment, and we might keep digging. We might find some plays in this game as well, but that is what we have as of right now for this game. And actually, speaking of player props, before we do get to the rest of the slate, Sleeper has a free square for new users today. Paul George, they've knocked his points line down from 21.5 to 0.5 points. That's a 99% discount. Go ahead and check it out, guys. That link is going to be in the pinned comment. First off, you get your deposit completely matched up to $500. So if you want to be a big baller, you can throw in $500. You'll have a new account balance of $1,000, and you also get this new square. But what I really love, obviously the deals are great, but what I love about Sleeper is, one, how easy it is to place these player prop plays, but I love the fact that each and every play has its own multiplier. So yes, you combine 2 to more player prop picks into a slip. The more you get correct, the more you get paid out, obviously. But the cool thing is that each and every pick has its own multiplier. So you could have a 2 for 2 hit, and it's not 3x, 3 times your money like most other apps out there. Each of those player props has its own dynamic payout multiplier. So you could win up to, not really with a 2x, but you can win up to 100 times your money over on Sleeper. But yeah, I've had plenty of the 4.2x's and stuff with them because it's just kind of cool how they do it. It's almost like a version of odds only on these DFS player prop sites. So go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, that's Sleeper Picks. That link's going to be in the pinned comment. 100% of your first deposit matched, and you get this Paul George free square. I love Sleeper. I think you should go check it out because I think you will love it too. Let's go ahead and jump back into the rest of these games. All right, next up, we have Dallas taking on the Clippers here. Dallas 6-point favorites at home. This series also at 2-1 right now. Dallas winning the last couple games. So Clippers took the first game, and then obviously Dallas comes in with that next two here. This is shaping up to be a really good series, so obviously tough to kind of predict and see what's going to happen. Kawhi's on the injury report, as is Luka, so obviously if you're betting this, keep an eye on that. It's the playoffs though, so like a lot of these guys with game time decisions or questionable next to their name, like I feel like they would lean towards playing because, well, I picture them being like you're playing in the NBA playoffs, win or go home type stuff. But, that being said, you never really know with these guys in the NBA. I'm going to lean towards the Clippers, honestly. As weird as that may seem, I do think that this is a spot in which, similar to the game we just talked about, 6 points may just be a little bit too much for how close some of these games have been, right? Now, game 1 was the only one that I looked at, and I was like, I guess game 3, you can make the argument, wasn't that close. But that second game kind of showed how close these teams really can play. And honestly, throughout the majority, if you take away, I guess, what was it, the second or third quarter in that game number 3, like these quarters were within 1 or 2 points also. So kind of reading between the line and throwing out some things that help the argument, I guess. But I think that these obviously teams match up very, very well, and it makes sense. When you look at them over their last 10 games against one another, dating back to last year, 5-5 here. So it's like, yes, they are very, very similar in talent. And this Clippers team, what I don't think they get all the credit for is the fact that they do have that experience. Like when I say James Harden, Paul George, Leonard, even Ivica Zubac at some point, like compared to even Luka, Kyrie, Derek Jones, PJ, Daniel Gafford, like there is a little bit of a miss in veteran status, I guess you could say, on Dallas here. And Tim Hardaway Jr., speaking to that, is also questionable in this spot. I don't know if I said that. I just think that this Clippers team can play close basketball. Do I think that they win this game? I truly believe Dallas, even though the Clippers are the 4 seed, Dallas the 5 seed, I think Dallas is the better team and probably ultimately will prevail here. But 6 points seems like it's a little bit too much to give me in a playoff game in which the total right now is sitting at 208. So give me the Clippers plus the 6 points. In terms of a total, now that we mention it, I don't mind looking at the over. I don't know if it becomes a final play, and it kind of counters like what I'm saying, right? Like in terms of using that 6 points. Like if this game goes over, I do think it gives Dallas a little bit of a runway to pull away because they just are more of a pull away team than the Clippers. But the Clippers pace hasn't been terrible to close out the year or anything like that. Overall, I just think that this is a Dallas team that probably has an offensive edge, especially with pace. Clippers have a defensive edge, so just keep it to 6 points. And it's not hard to score I guess 105 apiece when you have offenses like this. So give me the over in this spot as well. In terms of a player prop, I do have one in this game. I like Kyrie Irving over 2.5 3-pointers made. 6 straight times he's cashed this against the Clippers. He's done it in all 3 games this series. 6, 8, and 7 3 attempts as well. And honestly, Kyrie, from a performance in this series, you thought he was going to go off. Game number 1, he had 31 points. Then it was 23, 21. So I don't know if I really love his points. If Luka's out, that's going to change things drastically. But his 3-pointers here, I don't mind whatsoever. Minus 140 on BetMGM right now. That's definitely juiced. But FanDuel minus 175, DraftKings minus 165, Caesars minus 157. So I probably wouldn't play it past the minus 150 mark, but we're going to get this in early at minus 145 if we can. So Kyrie over 2.5 3-pointers made. Again, he's hit it in 6 straight against the Clippers. I think 5 of which this season, and then he's hit it in 3 straight so far in this series. Also, real quick, guys, a player prop that I forgot to mention while doing that. We're doing this after the fact. I don't mind Kawhi Leonard over 19.5 points. It's more of a positive EV play because this is minus 115 on most books, but you can get it for plus 110 on FanDuel. So minus 110 on BetMGM, minus 117 on Caesars, minus 110 on ESPN Bet, DraftKings minus 105, plus 110 on FanDuel. So if you don't have that book and you're on some of those other ones, it might not be as much of a consideration, but there's some serious value for getting his line at plus 110 when most other books are mispricing, or FanDuel's mispricing it. Most other books have it priced around the minus 110, minus 115. So wanted to mention that. All right, next up is a game that we honestly probably don't touch today, and I'm not going to say I recommend people to do the same, but we could potentially have a Bucks team here without Lillard, without Giannis, and without Middleton. So it's like, yeah, that 10-point spread looks like, why would you give the Bucks 10 points? It's like they could be missing their top scorers here, definitely with Lillard and Giannis, and it's like, okay, well, now you don't really know what's going to happen. Like, that type of stuff happens, and you think, okay, well, the Pacers should dominate them, right? But this is playoff basketball. All of a sudden, it's like you're missing your best guys, and the team rallies around it. So definitely a questionable one here. If I had a gun to my head and a spread pick here, I probably would lean towards the Pacers just because of the fact that they're healthy, and they obviously won the last 2 games, and the Bucks are not. Like, even if Giannis finally plays or Damian Lillard does play, it's like, well, they're still banged up, and even if Middleton is playing, like, I think that the Pacers, though they're not the best defense, but it's like, okay, well, the options are pretty slim on who we should focus on now, right, and trying to prevent from scoring. So I do think it's going to be a tough one, and I just kind of want it to be honest and transparent that I don't think this is the go-to spot overall in terms of games today to place. But again, give me the Pacers minus 10 if I had to choose. In terms of the total, 216, I feel like I'm leaning towards a lot of overs here, but we've seen the Pacers say, hey, that's how we're going to win these games, regardless if it's OT or anything like that. But they're like, let's pull away here. So give me the over in this spot as well. Pacers should totally dictate the pace of this game. And you might be thinking, well, what if they get up by a big amount of points because of, if Lillard doesn't play, or if Giannis doesn't play, if Middleton doesn't play? I don't think the Pacers really have that, like, woosah, let's calm down. No, they'll just keep flying and flying. That's how they play basketball. So I'll lean towards the over in this spot as well. The over almost is something that I would consider playing even regardless of the injuries. So I guess that's kind of fair there. In terms of player props, this one might shock some people because you might be thinking, okay, well, Middleton's injured. He's probably going to play, though. I think he's listed as probable. But then Lillard and Giannis are listed as doubtful. Bobby Portis. We love Bobby Portis. He's really, really good and blah, blah, blah. I'm taking this under 19.5 points if they don't play that. He might get close to this line. I understand that. So far in this series, 15, 14, 17 points. Now you're like, Lillard's not there. But if you look at him on this season without Lillard and without Giannis, now, again, he's a big playoff guy, but he only had 1 game in that spot in which he had 4 points. Okay, he played like 22 minutes. Last 20 games without those guys, he's only hitting 7 of 20. Last 10, he's only hitting 3 of his last 10. So Bobby Portis benefits off of the Giannis and the Lillard out there. I don't think he's necessarily like a give me the ball, let me go score type guy. But hey, we took the under with Brunson's points a couple nights back, and that absolutely got egg on our face. So maybe we're crazy here, but give me Bobby Portis under 19.5 points. And it's so funny. I mean, I'm such a dweeb that I'm like, I don't know if I'll be betting this game. I really did mean aside because I could see the over going, and I don't mind this Bobby Portis play. So when I say like this is probably not the best game to bet, I think. See, I'm trying to think that means more like winner or spread pick, okay? Because if you're going total or a player prop in this spot, like, yes, there are some factors to consider because the guys are being out, but I really don't think I touch the spread in this spot. All right, last game here, we have the Suns taking on Minnesota. This is a spot in which the Suns obviously looking to avoid packing up and saying, hey, this is the season's over, right? They looked really good to close out the year. Even I, in game number 1, was like, I think this is going to be a Suns spot because they match up so well against the Timberwolves. Like, if you looked at these teams prior to the Suns, they met 3 times in the season and kind of whooped them each time. But the Timberwolves are like, hey, defense matters in the playoffs. Let's come in here. And now you look at the Suns that have scored 95, 93, and 109 in 3 games here against the Timberwolves. So I do think that this is a Timberwolves team that has proven that, no, we're the better team, by the way. So I think I have to lean towards the Timberwolves here, even though I could see the Suns avoiding elimination. But what have we seen in this playoff series so far that would make it an educated spot to be like, no, like they're gonna fight, like, just because their backs are against the wall? That isn't good enough for me, to be honest. So I'm gonna slightly lean towards the Timberwolves here in this spot to close it out. And yeah, we just saw the Nuggets not close out the Lakers. I get it, but to me, there's a little bit more riding on that Lakers team, right? Like, the coach could get fired. You have LeBron and AD, who are better, I guess, to some degree, than anyone that the Suns are rolling with right now. And I know it's like, oh, Kevin Durant's better. It's like, I understand that, but like, Kevin Durant isn't necessarily like having a monster series, right? Like, what, having 18 points last game or the game before that, something like that. But yeah, give me the Timberwolves here. In terms of the total, it's 210 right now. I kind of want to see what this line ends up at because I see a lot of public bets coming in on the under, but 91% of the money right now is on the over. So I guess I lean towards the over again, which makes me feel like it's a chalked overs day for me because we just had 4 games and I take 4 overs. So obviously they're not all going to go over. Maybe they do. But to me, it's like I kind of want to just follow the money here. Again, we've seen the Timberwolves score a decent amount of points, but the Suns not. But if you think about it, if the Suns are facing elimination, they should just go balls to the wall trying to score, leave it all on the table, right? And the Timberwolves have obviously been able to score 120 plus in 2 out of 3 games of series. So maybe there is some logic to the over there. From a player prop perspective, it's one that we've already cashed in this series. Rudy Gobert here over 2, I lost, over 26.5 points plus rebounds. I don't necessarily love his points or his rebounds individually. Like, I don't hate it, but you're getting, it's 13.5 for both of those lines. So you're losing a little bit of value because we have 26.5 when it comes to points plus rebounds, right? But if you take 13.5 for both of those, you're kind of saying he's going to have 20 or over 27, so 28 rebounds plus assists, points plus rebounds. So he's done this again in 2 of the 3 so far. We cashed last game, 19 points, 14 rebounds, and the dude is just getting a boatload, 25 plus rebound chances here. So he can almost cash his 26.5 with rebounds alone. That'd be amazing. But yeah, give me that as a player prop in this spot. Would like to look at some other player props in this game because I think it's going to be a really hard fought game. And I think the books do too. Plus 1.5 on a team with their back against the wall for elimination, like, makes sense. But nothing jumping off the page to me. Like, did I say that as of right now? So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we add anything. And that's the case always. Like, make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. Maybe some things start to formulate a little bit more throughout the day that we weren't able to get to early in the morning. So that's where all the updates and everything will be, guys. But if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 18. This is the 18-minute marker. You made it past the 18-minute mark in the video. And man, oh man, am I exhausted after vacation. But I am fired up to get back to the regular videos. But I do have some more trips coming up, and I love the comments. I'm like, you're always on vacation. It's like, yeah, I didn't necessarily plan to go full time with this in March, and already from last year had a bunch of weddings and a bunch of friends getting married and all that type of stuff like planned. So it's gonna be a crazy hectic year/summer, but we're still going to get the videos out and everything like that. And hope you guys do appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I have for you in today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.